If you're lost on how to create a content strategy for your brand, then this is the video for you, because we are getting into the nitty-gritty, baby, okay? So stay tuned. Today, we are talking about strategy, more specifically, content strategy. This video is going to be so juicy because I am actually going to be creating my content strategy as I'm teaching you how you can create your own strategy for the quarter. So if you are excited for that, let me know in the comment section. Also, let me know what type of business it is that you have that you are creating a content strategy for. Because whether you have a product-based business or a service-based business, you need a content strategy. Now, I do specifically help product-based businesses, but obviously I'm also a service provider as well. So whether you own products or whether you provide services, this video is going to be super helpful to you because we are getting into the nitty-gritty of creating a content strategy for Q1. I'm excited and I hope you are too. And if you don't already know, I am Shanelle, the Brand Hustler, and this is a channel for all of my hustle babes who are interested in gaining insight on the entrepreneur journey while learning essential marketing and business tips for their brand. So if that sounds like you, make sure that you go ahead and hit the subscribe button and join the Hustle Babe community. How today's video is going to work is I am going to be doing a mixture of dry erase board explaining as well as some behind the computer type of share screening, so that way I can drive the points that I am explaining home. I'm going to break down the way that I create a content strategy in the simplest way that I possibly can. I actually have a 7-step system that I use when I'm creating my strategies, and because we're talking about content strategy today, I'm going to be giving you a lot of content examples and things like that. But honestly, you can use this 7-step system to create almost any strategy within your brand and business. So let's go ahead and get started. The first thing that I am going to do is I'm going to reflect on my performance from the previous quarter. This is a very important step when you are setting goals, when you're creating a strategy, because your performance in the past quarter, the past year, can honestly tell you the direction that you need to go in, because data always gives you an answer to your questions, right? Your data can tell you things such as your growth rate or your engagement rate, or what your audience is actually connecting with. So we want to make sure that we pay attention to our data as much as possible. So the first thing that I do, and that my members of the eHustle Club and my clients do, is we reflect on our performance in the past quarter. So you want to look at things such as your website analytics. You want to look at things such as your social media analytics and your email analytics as well. Now, I say email, social media, and website because one, content is not just on social media. Your email marketing and your SMS marketing are also forms of content as well. And we're building an entire content strategy. So that involves email, that involves text marketing, that involves social media. The reason why I look at website analytics is because if you use Shopify, which you should, they tell you the source of your traffic. That's important for you to know to make decisions about your business as well. When I am reflecting on my previous quarter, I look at data, but I also do some reflection in terms of mindset and accomplishments. I really want to take the time to answer a couple of questions. I answer questions regarding how satisfied I am with my accomplishments from the previous quarter. I also outline what accomplishments I've made mindset-wise, not just monetary, but what mindset moves did I make? Did I conquer my schedule for my entrepreneur journey? Did I finally quit my 9-to-5? Did I spend more time with my family? What exactly were my accomplishments? Because those are little wins as well. I also reflect on where I was at the beginning of the quarter versus the end of the quarter, because I want to see the growth or I want to see the decline. So if I was way more consistent at the beginning of the quarter, I want to pay attention to maybe life events or things that happen in my business that could have triggered that. So that way I can combat those mindset blocks if they were to happen again this year or this quarter. I also reflect on the things that I avoided out of fear. Fear was a big thing for me in terms of perfectionism, right? Not because I don't believe that I can do something, but more because if I do something, I want it to be 1000% correct. And so it's important for me to list out all of the product ideas I had, all of the service ideas I had, all of the content ideas I had that I held back on because I had certain fears. So those are a couple of things that you want to answer as you're reflecting, in addition to looking at your data. I am actually filling out a exercise workbook that I created for myself and I shared with the members of the eHustle Club, where it makes the reflection process really easy because I ask you specific questions. There's charts and things to help you pull certain insights. And so I'm actually gonna put it on the screen so you can kind of see what it looks like. But the members of the eHustle Club have this, and y'all, it is so helpful, it is so good, and it provides so much clarity. So it's definitely something that you can recreate on your own, or you can join the eHustle Club and get yourself a copy, because we are doing some goal setting next week actually. I am now going to brainstorm my goals for this entire year. I do that by identifying the gap between where I am and where I want to be, and then I set intentional goals based on that in a couple of areas. I'll share the goal areas in a second, but what you want to do is you want to look at the data that you've pulled, you want to look at the moves that you've made, you want to look at your reflection pretty much overall and understand the shift that you want to make this year and how you can make that shift, because there's a certain cadence that you'll realize that you had in the previous quarter or the previous year based on your data that you can then use to set strategic and smart goals. Setting goals can be super overwhelming, and that's why it is important to have a system or a strategy behind setting those goals. I actually shared the strategy that I use to set my goals and not be overwhelmed on my Instagram story. So if you want to go ahead and check it out, I did save that story as a highlight. So just go to my Instagram page and tap the goals highlight. Follow me if you go and do that now, because hello, I drop gems over there too. The second step that we are going to execute in order to create our content strategy is we're going to take those goals that we brainstormed for the full year and make them into quarterly bite-sized pieces. Now, there are two different ways that you can do this. I typically tell my clients to either use the ladder method of setting goals for the year, or you can use the split method when you're setting goals for the year and splitting it up into the quarter. So pretty much the split method is where you do an even split. So let's say you want to make $100,000 for the year. An even split would mean that each quarter you would aim to make $25,000, because 25 times 4 equates to 100. The ladder method, on the other hand, is where you take an approach where each quarter you set the goal higher. So you start off with a lower number for quarter one and you work your way towards a higher goal. There's a third way that you can do this as well based off of your data that I usually recommend to people who have been in business for 3 years or more. Your data will start to show certain patterns, and you want to look at the patterns that are happening within your business data and then plan your quarters based on that. So like if quarter 3 is usually a huge quarter for you and quarter 2 is usually really low, then obviously you would want to put like your biggest goal or your biggest quarterly goal for quarter 3. I hope that makes sense. But anyway, the method that I am using for my strategy is I am going to break my goals down using the ladder method. So I've already done the math because I'll be here forever doing the math. So pretty much for the year, I have the goal of making $750,000 within the Brand Hustler LLC itself. So with all of my courses, with my coaching, with my programs, with my e-products, that is what I want to make. So quarterly technically wouldn't be the number I'm going to say, but because I'm using the ladder method, it's going to be this number because I'm doing lower to higher, okay? So I am going to aim to make $125,000 within quarter 1 of this year. Then my growth goals that I have set. I have a couple of growth goals, but for the sake of this video, I just put the example of Instagram, TikTok, and email. So my overall goal for the year is to get to 50K on Instagram, 100K on TikTok, and to have 25,000 subscribers, healthy email subscribers. Because right now I have 19,000, but I'm gonna do a mass cleanup, which is gonna drop that number tremendously. So I need to grow that amount back. So for Q1 for Instagram, I wanna end with about 28,000 followers, and I want my engagement rate to go up to 1.73. So currently my engagement rate is 1.31. And I did a comparison with the healthy engagement rates and what's my average for my industry and all that stuff. This is all stuff that if you work with me one-on-one or if you join the eHosted Club, I explain in there. It is too much for a video. But if you compare your numbers currently to industry standards, that can also give you a clear path on the goals or the rate that you can set your goals at. And then for TikTok, I want to end Q1 with 50,000 followers. And my engagement rate on TikTok is very healthy, so I really just want to maintain that. And then for email, I want to actually end with about 20,000. So remember, I'm doing a mixture of cleaning and growing my email list throughout the entire year. So I'm gonna shave about 5,000 people off maybe in Q1, and I just basically wanna gain those people back in Q1 because right now I have 19,000. So that's how I break it down. And then I have my experience goals, which, you know, I've set my goal, satisfaction rate, success rate, and positive feedback rate. And so these are the 3 areas that I set goals in: financial, growth, and experience. And I break those things down into quarterly goals so that way they are bite-sized pieces for me. This is important for you to do in terms of content strategy because it helps you create a game plan for your content, which is actually step number 3. So let's get to it. All right, so when creating a game plan for your content, what I like to do is I like to look at my goals and create power statements for each type of goal that I have. So I have 3 types of goals: financial, growth, and experience goals. If you don't know why I set those 3 types of goals, then I definitely want you to check out this video right here on the screen where I shared my goal setting method and I explained the difference between financial goals, growth goals, and experience goals. Trust me, you want to make sure that you're setting goals in all 3 of those areas, especially if your focus is brand building, brand connection, audience nurturing, and audience conversion. All 3 are super important, not just setting sales goals, which is your financial, okay? Don't just do that. Do all 3, financial, growth, and experience. Anyway, I look at my goals within these 3 areas and I create power statements that really give me a overview of the direction that I want to head for the quarter based on the goals that I set. Now, what I'm going to do is take these power statements and turn them into a content game plan. And the way that I'm going to do that is I'm gonna let y'all in on a really, really hot, like piping hot tea type of secret, right? The financial, growth, and experience goal categories translate into your content strategy tremendously, okay? The reason why, and hear me out, your financial goals are going to help you understand what products or what offers you should be pushing the most during the quarter, right? And then your growth goals are going to identify the cadence in which you need to be pumping out content. So obviously, if you are currently at, let's say, random number, 25% growth rate, and your goal is to get to a certain amount of followers by the end of Q1, and you realize that with a 25% growth rate that you have, you will get to that certain goal, then obviously you don't have to worry about changing your cadence because the cadence you're posting now works for you. However, if you notice that you are trying to get to a goal and your growth rate isn't as healthy as 25%, and with that growth rate, you're not going to meet the goal at the end of Q1, then obviously you want to try to manipulate the growth rate by increasing the amount of times you post, which is increasing your cadence, okay? That's just a little gem right there, okay? Then your experience goals, they tie into how you actually engage with your content and the way that your content looks and feels when you put it out there. So that is how you create a game plan using your financial growth and experience goals, all right? Step number 4 when creating your content strategy is we wanna go ahead and outline our sales funnel. Your sales funnel is pretty much the outline of how you plan on taking your consumer from being a cold audience member all the way to a hot audience member. So when I design my sales funnel, it looks something like this. It looks something like this. And what I really like to focus on when outlining my sales funnel for myself and for my clients is I like to focus on the call to actions and the benefits that I need to stress in my content in order for my audience to understand that and then move through the funnel. Pretty much, I outline my sales funnel in order to outline the call to actions that need to be included in my content depending on the stage that my audience is in. The 5th step that I do in my content strategy creation is I actually outline my customer journey. I know that customer journey and sales funnels can be kind of confusing and can start to merge and seem the same. So I just want to give you a quick explanation as to why they're different. I want you to think about your sales funnel as like the outward actions that you are doing in order to move your customer from point A all the way to point C. Those are your call to actions, that's your marketing messaging, all of that stuff that you need to put out in order for them to move through. Think about your customer journey, on the other hand, as the thoughts, emotions, feelings, and internal actions that your potential buyer is taking as they experience your brand. Now for that one, I'm going to hop behind the computer screen to kind of show you what my customer journey map looks like. Welcome to behind my computer screen. On the screen, you are going to see an example that I created within the E-Hustle Club. So we actually had a class all about creating your customer journey for your brand, and the members loved it. It was so helpful, so impactful. So on the screen, you actually see a snippet of that lesson. So consider yourself a VIP because you are getting an exclusive sneak peek. You'll notice that the customer journey chart on the screen, it has a few stages, right? Awareness, consideration, decision, and delight that your audience member and consumer go through with your brand as they go along your journey. But what's important about this chart is you want to pay attention to the thoughts and emotions as well as the goal and the actions of your audience member and your consumer, because they change as they move forward along their journey with your brand. The reason this is important for your content is because you want to be able to speak to the emotions that your audience member or consumer are currently experiencing, and that's what makes your content more sticky for them. That's what makes your brands resonate with them. When you make sticky content based on their emotions and understanding where they're at, what their goals are, and all of that, you tap into the fact that buying is an emotional process, and you let them understand, or you show them that you understand what they're feeling, what they're thinking, all of the things, and why your product is the best for them. Okay, so that is why I do the customer journey step within my content strategy creation process. In step number 6, we are going to tie everything together. And then in step number 7, we are going to write it out and make it plain. Pretty much step number 6 is creating or notating the habits and systems that you need to activate in order for this entire content strategy to work. So in order to do that, we are going to pull what we did in steps 1 all the way to step 5 together in one cohesive strategy plan. So pretty much step number 1 is we did some reflection and brainstorming of what our goals are for the year. We then further broke down those goals in step number 2 to create quarterly bite-sized pieces that we can actually tackle. More so is we broke down our goals into 3 main areas: our financial, growth, and experience goals. We then looked at what our power statements were for each of those types of goals to create our content strategy game plan. So for me, because I want to increase revenue, my game plan is pushing big ticket items and balancing it with low ticket offers, so that way my big ticket items will drive revenue home for me in the quarter. My growth goal and my growth game plan, because I want to build an active and engaged community, it's important for me to increase the cadence in which I'm posting. This year I am buckling down and going back to TikTok, increasing my presence on Instagram, and getting back to the posting a video every single week, twice a week on YouTube, so that way I can increase my cadence and hopefully increase my follower growth and the engagement amongst my community. Not only that, but I am also putting out different types of content where I can actually connect with my audience. So I'm putting out a lot of story-based content, and I'm sharing a lot about my personal experience and things like that. And I have lives that I'm injecting into my content strategy as well. And then my experience goals, which pretty much to sum it up, I want to provide the best service possible, so top tier service, while still impacting my community and driving results home for my clients. So for that, my goal is to showcase my client wins more and to praise them because they deserve it. And I want to showcase that I do have a lot of client wins. Not only that, but I am focused on brushing up the way that I present the things that I offer and making it clear of how you're going to get from point A to point B if you decide to enroll in this program or work with me. And I'm going to do that and stress the clarity within my content so that way people can clearly see the result that they're going to get from interacting with my program or interacting with me. So pretty much I created that game plan, right? I also looked at my sales funnel and I mapped out my customer journey to understand the feelings that my audience members and my consumers are going to be experiencing as they engage with my brand, and also identifying the certain call to actions that need to be at every stage of my sales funnel. That way I can push people with my marketing to the next stage through content. And now I want to outline the habits and systems that I need to create in order for all of this to happen. So this is going to be different for everybody. Pretty much what my habits and systems look like. And now for step number 7, I'm basically going to put this entire plan into Words on Coda, which is what I use to actually create my content, or to create my content plan, I should say. I use Canva to create my content. But inside of Coda, what I am going to do is I am then going to do all of the brainstorming for the content topics, hash out the content details, hash out the design direction I want for the pieces of my content, decide when I'm going to post it, schedule out my content, and all of that jazz I do within Coda. But what I don't like to do is I don't like to plan out the specific pieces of content months in advance, because then that kind of stumps my creativity. What I like to do is I create my content in batches of 2-week to sometimes 30-day period, and that's when I go really deep into the specific details of the post. When it comes to February, March, and the following months that are coming after the current month that I'm in, I just give an overarching theme to that. The reason I say that is because I actually teach my clients and the members of the eHustle Club how to create content pillars and how to create content based off of 3 different categories outside of selling content. And so one of those things is realtainment content. And you're not going to be able to create realtainment content months in advance because it's realtainment. It's what's happening right now. It's what's, you know, what's new, what's fresh, what's trending, what news just hit. All of that stuff is injected into realtainment content. So that is why I always suggest planning out your content in like a week or 2-week batches if you want to, 30-day batches, but not anything past that for the quarter. I know that this was a lot. This was a hefty video, and hopefully this is one of the only videos that you are going to need when it comes to creating a content strategy. As you can see, a lot of thought goes into a content strategy. It's not just throwing stuff out there and seeing what will stick. It's a lot of reflection, a lot of data pulling, a lot of brand reflection and brand building and audience knowledge that you must have in order to create a powerful content strategy. If you watch this entire video, comment down below with the word content 2023 to let me know that you are serious about getting your content together. One of the things that I want to stress is that you want to make sure that you do every single step in the order that I presented, unless it is going to be a hot diggity dog mess. I also want to invite you into the eHustle Club because everything is just way less stressful than there. You have the guidance from me, you have weekly lessons, you have the support of other entrepreneurs within the group. As you figure out this entrepreneurship thing, we want to make it the easiest for you to understand, the easiest for you to accomplish your goals, and all of that. So definitely check out the eHustle Club if you are focused on building your brand, increasing your sales, increasing the connection with your audience and your community. The eHustle Club is definitely where you want to be. Depending on the day that you're watching this, enrollment is open, so click the link in my description box and join. If you are watching this at the time of me posting, we do close enrollment on January 19th. So make sure that you go ahead and join if you are watching this before then. Definitely check out the eHustle Club. We're actually going to be diving into our quarterly goal setting session next week. So you want to make sure that you join in time for that. If you're not subscribed to this channel, hit the subscription button, hit the notification bell so that way you are notified when I drop another video. Make sure that you go ahead and follow me on social media at The Brand Hustler on Instagram, TikTok, and everywhere else. And yeah, stay tuned for the next video, and I will see y'all later, hustle babes. Bye. Oh, and by the way, I hope this video was super helpful to you. Please comment below and let me know if it was helpful. Please, please, please. And if I should do more in-depth videos like this. But this is how deep we get when you work with me one-on-one or when you join one of my programs such as the eHustle Club. So if you're on the fence and you're confused about this still, girl, just come on. Just come on and join the club or book a one-on-one session if you're more of a one-on-one type of gal, okay? So I'll see you later for real this time. Peace.